In economics, a market refers to all the various providers and buyers of a particular good or service. Because there are many different forms of goods and services sold, there are also different structures for those various markets. This is the fourth in a series of resources that explore the four market structures. We focus on the oligopoly. We define the market structure and suggest market factors that lead to oligopolies. We then consider the prisoner's dilemma, which is a game theory application that predicts the behavior of the members of an oligopoly. We discuss the circumstances of the classical prisoner's dilemma and then consider an example from an oligopoly. A market structured as an oligopoly usually serves many customers. The defining feature of an oligopoly is that there are very few firms acting as sellers. It is also possible that there may be many firms, but a strong majority of the market, above 80%, is served by few firms. Some examples of oligopolies include the beer industry with Anheuser-Busch, Coors, and Miller, the sneaker industry with Nike and Reebok, and soda with Pepsi and Coke. Note that in each of these industries, there are smaller firms that fit certain niches, but the vast majority of the market share is concentrated in the firms mentioned. But how do oligopolies occur? The short answer of how oligopolies occur is barriers to entry. The specific form of barrier to entry depends on the industry. Sometimes there are governmental barriers to entry. Other industries have strong economies of scale and production, such as with the beer industry or the automobile industry. Market agreements form some regional oligopolies, as is the case with supermarkets. While a number of different supermarkets do exist, most regions are only served by a small number of major markets. In the capital region, we have Hannaford, Price-Rite, and Price Chopper / Market 32. In western New York, there are Wegmans. In Massachusetts, you can shop at Big Y and Stop and Shop supermarkets. In the southern United States, shopping is done at Food Lions and Piggly Wiggly. Other oligopolies result from strong advertising campaigns, such as with the sneaker industry. Since there are only a few firms in an oligopoly, they must strike a balance between cooperation and competition. Obviously, each firm wants to make as much revenue and profit as possible, but sometimes the best way to achieve that goal is actually by cooperating with the opponent rather than strictly competing. This phenomenon is explained by the prisoner's dilemma. Suppose two convicts, Bonnie and Clyde, are suspected of a crime. However, the police do not have sufficient evidence to peg the crime on one suspect or both. Therefore, they interrogate the prisoners in separate rooms. The police attempt to force either a confession or for one of the convicts to say the other did the crime. Bonnie may confess that Clyde did the crime, or she may stay silent. Clyde may also confess, saying that Bonnie did the crime, or he may stay silent. Each possible outcome has a different sentence for the convicts, as we shall see. In the case where both Bonnie and Clyde confess that the other committed the crime, each receive a 5-year prison sentence. It is possible that Clyde says Bonnie did the crime, but Bonnie stays silent. In this case, Bonnie gets a 10-year prison sentence, and Clyde goes free. Or, Bonnie may say Clyde committed the crime, while Clyde stays silent. With this possibility, Clyde gets the 10-year sentence, while Bonnie goes free. In the case where the police cannot get either convict to confess, they can only hold Bonnie and Clyde for 1 year. So what should Bonnie and Clyde do? Obviously, their best bet is to say the other did the crime and hope that the other also stays silent. However, both know that that is the best option. Therefore, if both confess, they actually wind up getting the worst punishment. Their best course of action is actually for both to remain silent. But how does this relate to the firms in an oligopoly? Let's see an example. Suppose two gas companies, Big Gas and Petroproducts, each with zero cost of production, form a local oligopoly. One day before opening, the two companies agree to charge $6 per gallon and each release 30 gallons of gas for sale. This amount of gas represents the immediate need for their region. The question becomes, do either company or both have an incentive to cheat on this agreement? Would either want to produce extra gas for sale? First, let us assume that each company adheres to the agreement. Each company produces and sells 30 gallons at $6 per gallon for a profit of $180. Suppose that Big Gas decides to break the agreement. They choose to produce 10 extra gallons for a total of 40 gallons. Because the supply has increased, the quantity demanded will lower. Therefore, Big Gas will drop their price to $5 per gallon. In this instance, Big Gas will sell their 40 gallons at $5 per gallon for a revenue of $200. But now, Petroproducts will only sell 20 gallons at $6 per gallon for $120 in revenue. Of course, this is not acceptable for Petroproducts. They will respond by also increasing their production to 40 gallons. This causes a further drop in price because of the extra supply, down to $4 per gallon. Now, each firm sells their original 30 gallons, but at $4 per gallon. Their revenue drops to $120 each. Therefore, it makes more sense for the companies to adhere to the original accord. This means that the companies will attempt to collude. However, this practice, called price fixing, is illegal in the United States.